Over a century after the Targaryen conquest of Westeros, King Jaehaerys the Conciliator determined his heir through a great council in 101 AC, where the lords of Westeros chose Viserys, eldest son to the fourth-born child of the king, passing over the line of Rhaenys, daughter of the elder third-born child, establishing a precedent that the crown should not pass to a woman or through a female line. Presiding over a decades-long golden age of peace and prosperity, Jaehaerys died in 103 AC, leaving his grandson Viserys a wealthy, secure, stable realm at the very height of its power. A kind, amiable king, Viserys and his wife Aemma Arryn had only one surviving child, and so he broke tradition and established precedent to name his daughter Rhaenyra heir to the Iron Throne. The seeds of division were then planted when the king's wife died and he married young Alicent Hightower, who birthed 4 children, including 3 boys as potential successors. Though Viserys reaffirmed Rhaenyra's place as heir, a rivalry grew between the Blacks for the Targaryen princess and Greens for the Hightower queen, seeking to make her eldest son Aegon the next king. Failing to mend the rift in his house, Viserys died in 129 AC, and almost immediately the Greens usurped the Iron Throne, declaring Aegon king of Westeros, while on Dragonstone the Blacks crowned Rhaenyra, beginning the Dance of the Dragon civil war. Initially seeking allies, the Blacks sent the queen's husband Daemon to rally support in the Riverlands, while her eldest son Jacaerys flew on diplomatic missions to the Vale and north. Her second son Lucerys, meanwhile, flew Arrax to the Stormlands, where he found Aemon of the Greens already negotiating an alliance. Though Lucerys tried to leave peacefully, Aemon followed atop his dragon Vhagar, resulting in the dance over Shipbreaker Bay, where the son of Rhaenyra and his dragon were killed. Initially unaware of his brother's fate, 14-year-old Jacaerys continued on his important mission, winning support from the Vale, the Three Sisters, White Harbor, and Winterfell, where he befriended Lord Cregan Stark. To gain support from the north, Jacaerys agreed to the Pact of Ice and Fire, where his firstborn daughter would marry Cregan's heir, Rickon Stark. Though it would take time for the North to prepare a large army for war, Lord Roderick Dustin of Barrowton, also called Roddy the Ruin, gathered a vanguard of 2,000 winter wolves, grizzled elders following the northern custom of old men sacrificing their lives by leaving home during winter to preserve supplies for their family. Fully expecting to die, the only goal of the winter wolves was to end their days winning glory and plunder. Riding shaggy northern horses, these veteran warriors wore old mail and ragged skins while wielding axes, mauls, spiked maces, and iron swords. Riding to the Twins, the Winter Wolves joined the army of House Frey and a company of 300 bowmen following Red Rob Rivers, the finest archer in Westeros. Together, they fought an invading, green-allied Lannister host in the Battle by the Lakeshore, where the Winter Wolves led the attack, losing 2/3 of their men during 5 devastating charges against enemy spearmen that won the battle and territory for Queen Rhaenyra. This victory had far-reaching consequences, as House Lannister lost so many men they could no longer protect the Westerlands, allowing the Black-allied Lord Dalton Greyjoy to attack and pillage the coast. Losing the Riverlands, Aemon Targaryen mounted Vhagar and went on a one-dragon rampage across the territory, but in doing so, left the army of Criston Cole without protection, allowing the remaining Black Army, including Lord Dustin and the Winter Wolves, to harass and terrorize the Greens as they marched south, whittling them down to such an extent the enemy army was wiped out in the Battle of the Butcher's Ball. Outnumbered 2-1, Criston Cole attempted to surrender but was refused. He then offered personal combat, but was instead killed by Rob Rivers and his bowmen. Again, the Winter Wolves led the charge and crushed the remaining Greens. Victorious in the Riverlands, Roddy the Ruin and the last of his Northmen rode south to the Reach, where they fought in the First Battle of Tumbleton, joining a Black Allied army defending against the Green Allied host of House Hightower. Though the Greens had Daeron Targaryen riding to Sarion, the Blacks planned for the threat to be neutralized by the Dragonseeds Hugh Hammer on Vermithor and Ulf the White on Silverwing. Engaging on the ground, The Blacks fought bravely, most noticeably the last of the Winter Wolves, who charged from a postern gate to carve through the army of House Hightower. And while they were outnumbered 10-1, the Northmen made it to the commanding officers, where Roddy the Ruin slew the enemy leader Lord Ormond Hightower and his cousin Sir Brynden Hightower before dying of his wounds. Making the ultimate sacrifice, the last stand of the Winter Wolves left the enemy army leaderless and in chaos, possibly doing enough to secure victory were it not for the Dragonseed betrayal happening in the skies above, where Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White abandoned the Blacks to join Daeron and Tessarion in securing victory for the Greens. Remembered as some of the most reliable and effective soldiers of the entire war, the Winter Wolves gave the South a preview of the devastation Northern warriors could unleash, making it all the more terrifying when Cregan Stark marched with up to 20,000 men to end the war and initiate the Hour of the Wolf, where he confirmed Rhaenyra's son as king, sentenced traitors, and brought stability back to the realm before returning home to Winterfell, leaving the South to their own affairs. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Tim, Dane the Battlehammer, Zong the Black Wolf, and Sir Rick Lone. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.